What would you do if your own sister looked you dead in the eyes at a family dinner and said, "Go find another table. This one's for real family, not adopted girls"? That's exactly what happened to me. And the worst part? Everyone laughed. My mom, my dad, even my cousin Ryan, who used to share snacks with me behind the couch when we were kids. They laughed like it was some harmless joke. But it wasn't. It was a message. A warning. A reminder that no matter how long I'd been part of their family, I'd always be the outsider. But it didn't end there. Because just when I was about to get up and leave, humiliated, heart pounding, trying to keep my face calm, the waiter came over and dropped something in front of me. A bill. Not just for my meal. No, for everybody's meal. Every glass of wine. Every overpriced appetizer. Every steak. Every lobster tail. All of it. $3,270. All on me. Why? Because I wasn't family. But apparently I was good enough to foot the bill. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just looked at the bill, took a sip of water, and made one phone call. And that changed everything. Have you ever walked into a room where everyone smiled at you, but it felt completely fake? That was the vibe the second I stepped into the restaurant. It was supposed to be my parents' 30th anniversary dinner. Big celebration. Private dining room. Fancy place with a wine list that looked like a mortgage application. Everyone was dressed like they were going to a gala. My sister Vanessa wore a gold silk dress like she owned the building. And when I walked in wearing a fitted emerald blazer I'd bought just for the occasion, she gave me that look. You know the one. Like I'd just tracked mud into her perfect little world. The air was thick with forced laughter and quiet tension. No one said anything directly. Not yet. But I could feel it. Like I was the guest at a party I was technically invited to, but nobody actually wanted there. They toasted champagne. They passed appetizers around the table. No one even offered me a glass. I sat at the end. Quiet. Smiling. Watching. I could have spoken up. Could have asked why there wasn't a seat saved next to mom or dad. But I didn't want to start anything. I waited. And just as I leaned forward to grab my water glass, Vanessa leaned back, looked me straight in the eye, and said the one sentence that would flip the night upside down. Have you ever been publicly disowned by someone who shares your last name? Vanessa tilted her head back like she was delivering a line in a play and said, loud enough for the whole table and the next to hear, "Rachel, go find another table. This one's for family, not adopted girls." Laughter. Actual laughter. One cousin snorted into his wine. Another one muttered, "Damn," like it was a roast battle. And Mom? She didn't even flinch. Just kept cutting into her fillet like nothing had happened. I looked around the table. Searching. Waiting for someone to say something. Dad glanced at his phone. Like he hadn't heard it. 15 years. I'd been part of this family for 15 years. Birthdays. Christmases. Hospitals. Graduations. But in that one sentence, I was suddenly a stranger holding a borrowed name. I didn't move. I didn't speak. And then the waiter showed up. "Excuse me," he said, looking at me. "The bill for the table." I blinked. "Sorry." He placed it gently in front of me like it was some kind of offering. I opened it. $3,270. I hadn't even touched an entree. Vanessa raised her glass. Well, if she's not family, she can at least be useful. My hands didn't shake. My jaw didn't clench. I just looked at her. And then? I smiled. What do you do when someone throws a $3,270 insult at your feet and expects you to bow? You don't panic. You don't scream. You make one call. I reached into my purse slow, like I had all the time in the world. Pulled out my phone. Tapped 2 buttons. The whole table was watching me like I was about to cry. Vanessa was already gloating, chin high, wine glass spinning in her fingers. I didn't give her the satisfaction. "Hey," I said into the phone. "Yeah, it happened again. Sending it now. That's all." I snapped a quick pic of the bill. Hit send. Hung up. And then I moved. Not out of the restaurant, but to a different table. One near the window. Alone. But at peace. I didn't even look back. Vanessa leaned toward the others, whispered something, and laughed like this was her victory parade. 15 minutes went by. Nothing. Then 20. The air shifted. Footsteps. Heavy. Deliberate. A man in a tailored navy suit walked through the front doors. Eyes locked straight on the main table. No hesitation. Just power in motion. He walked up to Vanessa and said, calm as ever, "Excuse me. Are you the one who asked Rachel to pay?" Vanessa blinked. "Who are you?" He smiled. "I'm the man she called." And then he reached into his coat pocket. What he pulled out? Let's just say Vanessa's face drained faster than the wine she was sipping. What's worse than being humiliated in front of your family? Watching them get humbled in front of strangers. The man in the suit, his name's Michael, by the way, pulled out a crisp folder and set it on the table like he was dealing poker cards. "Vanessa," he said, voice low but sharp, "this is a formal ban notice from the restaurant owner. Effective immediately, you and anyone who laughed with you are no longer welcome on any of our properties." Dead silence. The same people who were laughing 15 minutes ago? Not a sound. Not even a breath. Vanessa blinked. "You can't do that." "I can," Michael interrupted, "because I own this place. And 15 others just like it." Then he turned to me. "Rachel, I also brought this." He pulled out a sealed envelope and handed it to me across the table. I opened it slowly. A check. A very large check. Turns out, what no one at the table knew except for me and Michael was that I'd recently been added to the family trust. Quietly. Legally. Equally. Vanessa's fork dropped. Michael looked at her and said, "You had a choice tonight. You could have shown her she belonged. Instead, you showed everyone who you really are." I stood up, calm, collected, envelope in hand. Vanessa was frozen. Everyone else? Still pretending they hadn't laughed. But as I walked toward the exit, head high, something even I didn't expect happened. Someone followed me out. And when they spoke, everything shifted again. Have you ever walked away from everything you thought you wanted, only to realize you never needed it in the first place? I was halfway to my car when I heard footsteps behind me. "Wait," a voice called. "Rachel, please." I turned. It was my dad. Not Vanessa. Not my mom. Just him. His eyes didn't carry the smug silence he wore at the table. No, this time, he looked small. Tired. Maybe even ashamed. "I didn't know she'd do that," he said. But he didn't apologize. He didn't stop it when it happened. He didn't speak up when I was humiliated. He just watched. So I just stood there, looking at him. Waiting. "You've always been good to us," he said. "You didn't deserve that." Still, no apology. Just excuses dressed in nostalgia. I smiled. "Just a little." "It's okay," I said. "You showed me everything I needed to see." Then I got in the car, envelope still in my hand, and left. And here's the truth, I didn't win that night. Because this wasn't a game. What I got wasn't revenge. It was clarity. Sometimes the people who raise you don't really see you. And sometimes, family isn't defined by blood or last names or photo albums. It's defined by who stands up when the room goes silent. So to anyone who's ever felt like the outsider at your own table, you're not alone. Drop a broken heart in the comments if you've ever been made to feel less than. And if you are the Rachel in your story, remember, you don't need their table. Build your own.